Good evening, my dear colleagues. Welcome to another INGED Zoom series talk. This evening, our guest is Nilgün İner. Nilgün Hocam is an instructor with a 15 years English teaching experience, and she is the vice director at İzmir Bakırçay University School of Foreign Languages. She received her BA and MA degrees in ELT from Uludağ University and Bahçeşehir University, respectively. She also holds a CELTA. Her interests include teacher emotions, reflective practice, leadership and management skills, management skills development, mentorship, and soft skills development through curriculum. The title of her talk this evening is How to Maslow Before Bloom in the 21st Century's EFL Classroom. Welcome, dear Nilgün Hocam. It is a privilege to have you with us, and we are so excited to listen to you.
Thank you, Hocam.
The screen is all yours.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here. So here I go. My title actually has 3 points to talk about: Maslow and Bloom and the 21st century's EFL classroom. So I want to start with 21st century's EFL classroom. So when we consider the students in our classroom, if I ask you to name some adjectives or some words about our children, you would probably say digital, social, and maybe we would put some other vocabulary in the list, like they are ultra-connected, they are impatient, dissatisfied, but open-minded, virtual, anxious, maybe depressed and lonely sometimes. So probably you are accustomed to these children in your classroom. So these are the students we are teaching today, and these are the digital natives of our century. They come from diverse backgrounds, they bring their unique experiences, and they are just growing up in a rapidly changing world. So to teach them EFL, we have to think about their challenges, their needs. So this is why I'm talking about Maslow now. Probably you already know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is the pyramid, but I just want to give you a little bit information. It's a psychological theory that was developed in 1940s and 50s, and it just outlines a pyramid of human needs. It was originally like this, the one you see on the screen. The psychological needs have food, water, sleep, shelter, and then we have safety needs, both psychological and physical, and then we have love and belongingness. The third level is just social needs, such as love from family, love from affection from teachers and the students, other friends. And then the esteem needs come, such as achievement, that feeling of confidence and respect. And then at the top, we see self-actualization. It's about the children's maybe here, personal growth and fulfillment of their potential. So I think we all agree that water, food, shelter, sleep, these are the essential things that we should consider about a child. But how do we relate this to today's kids? For example, when we think about food, maybe we can talk about the era of fast food and that processed snacks, and we may need to think about that balanced nutrition. And we can also think about sleeping times, because maybe in the past sleeping meant something else, but now it's about sleeping deprivation of children because of the screen time, because of their needs are changing. So the needs are I'm sorry, I'm just excited at the moment. I need to take the sentence from the beginning. They have sleeping deprivation because they have limitless time to watch YouTube and other things. So let me show the modern version of Maslow's pyramid. In this pyramid, we have 3 extra steps. Psychological needs are actually the same because, again, we have sleep, food, shelter, but in the way I say, then safety needs. But when we say safety needs, is it only physiological and psychological safety? It's about cyberbullying, maybe. It's about digital well-being as well. Then belonging and love needs. Yes, it is almost the same with the older version, but now we have the virtual lives. We have the affection from social media. So it also changed. Esteem needs is almost the same, but then we have cognitive needs and aesthetic needs. When we talk about cognitive needs, yes, we mention knowledge, understanding, but we also need to think about the accessibility of information now. Today's children can access information very rapidly and easily. And the aesthetic needs are added. Here we need to think about, again, the beauty trends on social media and on YouTube. And then self-actualization is almost the same. Maybe it is enriched because, yes, we are still talking about fulfilling their potential, but today's children are so nice. I like it about it. They are talking about renewable energy, global warming. So they are not just, they are creating a better version of themselves. And self-actualization is a little different now when we think about how they think about the world. And at the pinnacle of the pyramid, we see transcendence, which means going beyond. So they are just, okay, in the beginning, when I showed you the picture of the children, I said they are dissatisfied. I don't think it's only because the parents are buying them lots of toys and clothes and other things. It's not about that. It's something intrinsic. I mean, it's coming from their inside, and they just want to go beyond their boundaries. So I talk about Maslow a lot, a little bit Bloom's now. Bloom's taxonomy is something we are accustomed to because if you have ever been observed by a supervisor in your lesson, 100% you receive some feedback about taxonomy because it was developed about 70 years ago, but it remains the bedrock of education. So, of course, it is very important. And even though it is changed, it is again the same at some point. I don't think it's seen here, but creativity is added in the new version. Actually, the new version was created by a group of researchers, one of whom was Bloom's student. And yes, so if you want to think about your lesson plan, if you want to prepare a good lesson plan, you always think about Bloom's taxonomy.
I think we have lost our speaker, but most probably she'll come back soon. Considering what she has been saying, I just wanted to add something here. Yes, today's children are exposed to millions of sources, information, and we really need to be very careful to teach the children how to understand whether this information is valid, reliable, real, or not. Because everyone can use the internet. There's no editor, there's no internet police. So it is very hard to protect children from this allegedly fake information bombardment. So as a teacher, we have a big, huge responsibility to do that. I believe Nilgün Hocam is also going to mention that. Nilgün Hocam, we weren't talking behind your back. We were just talking about.
I'm just so sorry, but it was
That's
my
okay.
I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. This is definitely technology today. You never know. It may work
Yes.
or fail. Hocam, you're now co-host, so you can start sharing your screen.
Okay, thank you, hocam. Just a second.
I was saying personally, I do not like Bloom a lot. Even with the new version, I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah. Neither am I, hocam. But we are somehow, I find myself forced to follow Bloom. Of course, it works, but actually, this is my point. If your students suffer from something, you cannot prioritize the higher order thinking skills. So it means nothing to ask them higher order thinking skills questions or CCQs, ICQs. Yes, they mean something, but it's not something like, okay, it is bedrock of education. I'm just behind my verse, but it's not the only thing we think about. So, why Maslow before Bloom then? Actually, I answered this question a bit, but I have some comic strips for you. I don't know if you're familiar with Peanuts. I love them. These are the characters from Peanuts, but these are also characters from your classroom. They are sleeping, bullying each other, and they just want some love, and they hate school sometimes, and they are depressed sometimes, even they are little kids. But this is my favorite. So I want to give you a little bit time to read it. Yeah, let's focus on the last one. He says, I'm secure in my stupidity. So as BFL teachers, we always say that, I believe that you always say that too. A foreign language is not taught, it's learned, acquired. I totally agree with that. But it means something. It means that the active role in the classroom belongs to the students, not the teacher. So if you agree with that idea, here is my question. Which will you prioritize? The needs of your students or the pacing of your lesson plan? So here comes one of my favorite quotations. In 2013, I was in Ankara attending a seminar by Aydan Hocam. And you know, there are sometimes aha moments in your life. At those moments, you probably know that thing, but you need a warning, you need a sentence to just trigger you. So she was right. So she was talking about lesson planning, and yes, she said, go home and finish your lesson plan in your pajamas. You don't have to do it in the classroom. It's not the place you have to worry about your pacing. There are other things to worry about. So after this aha moment, maybe I just started to talk about, think about my flexibility, in short. Then I will answer my question myself. In such a case, I will say security first, because if I take this blanket away from this kid, I cannot teach him anything. So if so far so good, if you agree with me, here are some practical tips. So these are the first things that come to my mind. Probably these are the things that come to your mind at first sight, but I want to focus on some of this. For example, if you want to establish a safe and inclusive environment, what can we do? You can introduce cultural awareness activities. So just let me minimize my Zoom screen. Okay. You can encourage your students
to talk about their traditions, their backgrounds. Remember, you need to get to know your students, and the other students need to get to know each other, and they should accept the diversity in the classroom. You can incorporate inclusive language. For example, you can create a bulletin board named the kind words. Then you can ask your students to collect some racist words from social media, from YouTube. They don't have to collect, but they can just bring the words they hear. And then you can replace those words with the nice ones, and you can pin the nice words, the racist-free, words on this bulletin board. You can celebrate diversity through literature. We are just lucky to be EFL teachers. We have thousands of millions of authentic materials. We can use, we have educational resources too, and we have a large variety of topics. Just make use of them. You can encourage collaborative learning projects. You can create groups with students from different backgrounds. You can create a classroom agreement which gives voice to the students. They can bring their own rules, but also you may focus on the rules about respect, inclusivity, active listening in the classroom, and also just like the group work, you can encourage pair work, but you can have a trick while pairing the students up. About the emotional well-being and stress reduction, unfortunately, the age to be stressful is just like I have a son. He is 6 years old, and while doing his homework, I can just feel that stress. Like if I can't do it today, tomorrow my teacher can get angry. She won't agree, I say, but she's just stressed, and at that point we just stop doing the homework and just be calm down. And it is the same for our students. When I'm a mom, it's easier. When you're the teacher, you have to stop yourself from getting angry or getting anxious. But what can we do? I don't know if you know the website Go Noodle. While I was working in K-12 schools, I used to use it a lot. They have lots of videos and dancing videos, some exercise videos and music. So it works both ways. You can teach vocabulary, you can teach some English context, while asking them to breathe, take the oxygen, just stretch their arms. So you can focus on relaxation exercises just in the beginning of your lesson. It will help them to focus on the lesson better, and it will help their learning. Stress reduction discussions may be a good idea. I mean, you can create open discussion opportunities and creative expressions such as we have writing lessons, we have reading lessons. If they cannot write, they can draw pictures. So just give them the opportunity to reflect on their feelings while creating something in English. And also time management and study skills can be taught in English lessons as well. So you can just clear about time management. And also don't forget to do regular check-ins as individuals or groups. Building positive teacher-student relationships. Some people are just so lucky. They have that spark. Some teachers have that spark which makes the students love them. Some of us, like me, try to be a good teacher loved by the students. But there are some tips. I know we may have just 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week in a classroom. We may be allocated 10 different classes. It doesn't matter. It's the students. It's not our workload. So, I mean, it's not their fault. So we have to get to know our students. We have to memorize their names. We have to know if they have a full family, if they lost anybody. We have to know about their interests and hobbies, because you will differentiate, because you will just create lesson plans according to your classroom's dynamic. So we have to think about those things. We have to show empathy, of course, and first we should be the active listeners in the classroom. we should be approachable. We have to be accessible. Remember, they are digital natives. So even if you don't have time at school, maybe you can give them just half an hour a week, telling them, okay, on Friday mornings, I'm free between those hours, and just go on Zoom. They know how to use digital technology. So come and talk to me about the things that you cannot talk in the classroom. And also, you can be a mentor, you can be a guide in the classroom. Sometimes we are the family they don't have at home. And again, we can celebrate achievements, creating a wall of achievements, maybe the student of the week. And don't forget to give constructive feedback, please. And sometimes we have students with disabilities and special needs. We can prepare individualized learning plans. For example, there are hundreds of plans, ready-made plans for the students with dyslexia. Some publishers offer some handbooks about them. We can get one of them. Because we are not the homeroom teachers, we still may not know a lot about our students. Even if we know, we may not know how to deal with some special needs. So at that point, please don't hesitate to get in touch with the guides, the counselor at school, or the homeroom teacher, or the parents. Maybe they can show you how to do it, because as far as I see in the participants, we are almost all, experienced teachers. But I remember when I was a novice teacher, that I was afraid of being tagged as the novice teacher, although I was a novice teacher, because I wanted the parents, because I worked in a private school, I wanted the parents to see me as an experienced teacher, and I just wanted to hide my weaknesses. It's not you, it's the students again. So please focus on your weakness and get the help, get the support. Flexible assessment methods, again, it's not only the lesson plans, the way you assess your students' achievements may vary. And again, peer support, inclusion, and professional development. I won't say anything about it because you are here. It means that you are just caring about your professional development, just keep up the good work. So I'm coming to the end, actually. In the beginning, I was too slow. Now I know I'm too fast because I was in the other computer in the beginning. Now I'm in the second computer. So this is my second identity, I think. I don't want to talk about everything like practical tips. Maybe just you can have a look at the titles. If you're interested, you can take a screenshot. I'm going to show you 3 slides like that. These are the little tips that connects the Bloom's taxonomy with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. On this page, you see the tips which address to belonging and esteem needs. And here, the other steps. Give me a screenshot. I'm not going to talk about what I wrote. But I want to maybe talk a little bit about this, because this is my favorite thing in Maslow's pyramid. Even though I'm not a kid, I still find myself just in the middle of self-actualization step. I'm still struggling with that, finding my potential, and just, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. I'm not sure if this is me. I cannot define myself sometimes. I'm not sure if I should define myself, by the way. But transcendence is just the part I want to be in. So these activities are just the things all the people at all ages like to do. So maybe they may not work in the primary school because they may not perceive the abstract concepts. However, we can create some global perspective projects. They have beautiful ideas about the world. They like social responsibility activities, just make use of them. just give them tasks outside regarding community engagement. Deeper reflective writing is something I love very much because while writing, your identity just changes and you can reflect on your feelings and your challenges really greatly. And it's both the part of the lesson plan and it's a huge part of Maslow. Socratic seminars is a good idea to just get the philosophy of the students about the world, about their life. Maybe you can just see the spark, you can just find a point to start with their journey, to make them start their journey. And again, collaborative projects and ethical dilemmas is a good idea to make them have debates weekly. These are all related with transcendence in Maslow and the things you can use in the creativity part of Bloom. That's all. I'm sorry if I was too fast. I'm sorry that I was disconnected. If you want me to repeat something or answer something, I'm here.
Thank you very much, Nilgün Hocam. Definitely you have mentioned how important it is to realize that our students are not students, they're human beings, very much like us. So just meeting their physiological needs cannot be enough to reach them. Yes, they are the basic needs. Yes, they need to be fulfilled. However, humans are so complex creatures. I remember one quotation, I can't remember who said it, but it goes like, teachers are more than what they teach. Who they are means more than the subject that they teach. So that is vaguely the idea. So I believe that is why Maslow becomes more important here. I cannot see any questions in the chat box, but my dear colleagues, if you have any questions for Nilgün Hocam or any comments that you'd like to make, you can raise your hand or write your question in the chat box. It all depends on whether you want to ask your own question or want me to raise your question. Yes. Nilgün Hocam, can you see the chat box?
I see. Thank you, Hocam, Hocam. And I read Tony's comment in Hocam's comment. Yes, I'm his wife. Famous Wolfencher. And yeah, I cannot see the older ones. However, I see the last ones. Yeah.
Yeah, Nilgün Hocam, was that public? I meant it to be private.
No problem, Hocam. We are publicly married.
Kusura bakmayın, I called you a hatun. I'm sorry.
I am, Hocam. No problem.
No, that is a private message, I guess, because I cannot see it in my chat box.
Yeah, Nilgün
So, Tony Hocam, you
Hocam,
managed to somehow make another nasty comment here.
Ya nasty.
But privately.
Hatun
I cannot see it.
güzel bir kelime. Çok güzel bir kelime. Yani between a man and his wife, it's a beautiful word.
Yeah, it is a little bit better than herif. I totally agree with you.
Tamam. I'm shutting up.
No. It's okay. I mean, it was a private message. We didn't see it, so you revealed yourself. See?
Okay. Yeah, I think.
Peki, Nilgün Hocam, I have a question for you. Most probably, today, teachers are going to say, hey, I have like hundreds of students, and I have hours to teach. I cannot definitely spare time to get to know my students. How am I going to do that? I know you have already warned us about this, but is there anything that you would like to add to that? Anything to convince these teachers that if they want to teach, they need to reach?
Yes.
Would you like to elaborate?
Hocam, actually, mainly, I was going to say what you said. I mean, if you are the teacher, if you want to be that teacher, you have to do it. There's no such thing like I cannot, because you also ask the students to get rid of that idea that they cannot. So you teach them learning strategies. You cannot remember the students' names? Okay, think about your learning strategy, your learning style. Are you a visual learner? Then put some name cards on them. Are you an audio learner? Then ask them to say their names each time they just raise their hand. Or are you a kinesthetic learner? Just play around the classroom with your kids. I mean, find a way to do it, because being a teacher is not, as we all know, being a teacher is not something to do to earn money, and we don't earn that much money while we are teaching, actually.
Yes,
so
true.
If you are still a teacher, if you are just accept your salary and you go on teaching, it means something. That it means that you love being in the classroom. So just, I mean, we should Maslow ourselves too. Actually, this is my last. Let me go with my last slide. So first of all, we have to prioritize Maslow for ourselves. So transcend. So just realize your potential. Just if you're a teacher, be more than that. Just apply the things we do here for the students to your life. I don't think there is an excuse for the teachers who has a lot of workload. You may have an excuse to miss the deadline. You may have an excuse to do some administrative stuff, to maybe coming to school late, a bit late maybe. But the students, especially the young learners, the kids, who are we to blame them for anything? They're just blank sheets. Or even if they are not, they are just the kids of their families. We cannot blame the kids because of how their families educate them. Just take them like little creatures and create something better of them. I don't know. They are. I admire the new generation, hocam. Especially the ones called alphas. They are just brilliant. I'm not angry because they call me boomer. Because I feel like a boomer when I'm with them. Because when I was a kid, I wouldn't think of any social responsibility activity, but they can create one just in pairs. So if you admire them, you have to do something for it to make to create a better world. Even if it is not for the classroom, even if it is not about teaching English, about the world, we can do something.
Yeah, true. Nilgün Hocam, if you're done with sharing your screen, can we stop it so that I can see? Oh, by the way, if you want to reach Nilgün Hocam, you can use this email, I guess. Don't call her, for God's sake. Most probably she will not have time to answer each and every call. Tony Hoca says, if you can see it in the chat box, there's nothing more important. We teach kids/people, not courses, not textbooks. True. True.
This is what you said in the seminar.
Yeah. That I remember that because at that time I was using that expression very frequently, because teachers keep saying, I need to cover the curriculum. I need to finish the curriculum. I need to, do this unit before this week. And I said, you make so many I sentences that you forget that you are there to serve the kids, the students. If you need to cover the curriculum, go home, get into your pajamas, Make yourself a nice cup of coffee, cover it by yourself. Because if you continue doing that, rushing all the time, you will be alone anyways. And unfortunately, you will not be comfortable in the classroom. So stop making those, I need to do this, I need to, the curriculum is there for the students to cover, not for you to cover, okay? So unless you're teaching, please don't forget that teaching is always defined as helping learners learn. If you're not helping learners learn, you're not teaching. Let's not fool ourselves, okay? You may look like a teacher, but you don't feel like a teacher. Teaching must be student-centered, not teacher-centered. Esma Nur Hocam, do you want to elaborate on that? If not, that's okay. Okay, I guess not. Now, Nilgün Hocam,
Can you hear
are
me
you
now?
for... yes, Esma Nur Hocam, please go ahead.
I try to say curriculum must be focused on the students' needs. It's about what they expect from the teachers and what they need to know according to actually imply to actually use it in their daily life, not just you learn something and then you forget it, not like that. They need to use.
Yes, they need to use it, definitely. Otherwise, they will not remember it.
So because of that, it must be student-centered, not the teacher one, I think.
Okay. I totally agree with you. Nilgün Hocam, what do you think? As teachers, do we have a say in curriculum?
Not, it depends on where you work, hocam, but at least we are flexible. So we can alter the method, we can enhance the context, but maybe in the public schools we don't have any right, but in private schools maybe a bit. I'm in higher education now, and I am flexible more than ever. So it depends on the context you're working.
Yeah. Curriculum is usually something that is imposed by the ministry. However, I totally agree with Nilgün Hocam. Curriculum is the backbone. As a teacher, you will always have a chance to put the flesh on that backbone. Okay? So there are some objectives, of course, like as in any syllabus. And in the curriculum, you will also have goals, main goals. Aren't there other ways of achieving those goals? Helping students reach those objectives? Maybe you can find another way, to help them, right? So curriculum is imposed, yes, but I mean, you always have an option, right?
May I add something, hocam?
Of course.
In my institution, we are developing a curriculum at the moment. Actually, we have been developing for 2 years, but we're just in the middle of needs analysis part, because we realized that we are not just working on syllabus. It's curriculum, and English is not a subject. It's just a vehicle. So we just change our objectives. For example, one of our objectives is making the students feel that leadership, making the students be a global citizen, or just being flexible themselves. So our main objectives are the 21st century skills. I mean, the soft skills, global skills, we can call them whatever. And we put the CFR code descriptors as the vehicles for these objectives. So there are many ways that you can play with the curriculum, but again, we have to focus on the student. We are just doing the needs analysis because, again, we are not in our pajamas at home just doing the pacing and covering the lesson plans, but we are trying to create better people after to work for world after university. So if we aim that, we put the objectives according to our aim, not according to CFR descriptor. CFR descriptor is the skill that they need to achieve, not the objective itself, I believe.
And in the chat box, we have a wonderful discussion going on. Tony Hojam, you know, he always comes up with very impressive quotations. He says, we have been over teaching for years, but look at our results. Look at the outcomes. True, we have been over teaching and no one is learning. They're under learning. Okay. And Jalil Hojam says, we have a say, yes, but always comes with a no. Okay, that's a nice one, Jalil Hojam. And again, Tony Hojam says the curriculum's about everything we do, as long as it is outcomes based. How we get there is up to us. Definitely. That's what we have been discussing, in fact, because there are goals. The ministry comes up with the curriculum. The curriculum covers all the syllabuses or syllabi, whichever you want to use, like syllabus for second year, syllabus for the third year, syllabus for the fourth year. You know, it goes like yearly plans. There you can see the objectives, the descriptors. There are some suggestions, but you don't have to stick to them. Now, there is one issue that is vocabulary. So I can understand teachers who are really worried about teaching the vocabulary covered in the government public books, because those words are usually on the exam. Students are asked those words. But other than that, other than vocabulary, if there is a function there, is there only one way of accomplishing that function? I don't think so. Language is so rich. So, yeah, over teaching, under learning, Jalil. I will stick to that, under learning and over teaching. And Pelin Hocam. Pelin Hocam, hi, how are you? We need to remember that we can exploit the books. Well, let's not say exploit, because if you say exploit, I get a negative feeling. Let's say we need to remember that we can adapt the books assigned to us by the ministry based on the need. Definitely. Pelin Hocam, big round of applause for you. If you're a good teacher, if you're a competent teacher, you will find a way to somehow make that lesson very boring unit an interesting one. You can change one boring activity into a game and your students will love playing it. That's so you are like an orchestra conductor. If you conduct properly, your students will play their instruments perfectly. I don't know, Jam, yes. Ali Hocam, wouldn't you like to ask your own question? Do you want me to?
Please, Hocam.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hocam, when basic needs are not properly and adequately fulfilled, the student may feel a strong sense of self-inefficacy. For example, having a low-income family. And no matter how successful the student may be, this negative sense will always be there with her or him. So as teachers, how can we deal with this problem? By the way, I kind of used to feel that sense at primary school. So this is why I'm asking.
Yes, Hocam. It's a hard question to answer because it's just this problem is getting bigger and bigger maybe every day. That's why you feel that feeling every day at your primary school. There are two ways we can go with. We can get professional support. There are institutions, there are governmental institutions, like places that we can get help. We can just apply maybe on behalf of them if they need any, not money, but clothes, shelter, other basic needs. Of course, we cannot recruit them. Of course, we cannot find jobs for their family. But even if we cannot change the family's, family's conditions, we can give a second identity to the student when she or he comes to school. Some years ago, I was leading a project in my school, which was called Free Rice Challenge. I don't know if this example will appeal to that problem, but in Free Rice, for example, you donate some rice to Africa. And there are two aims there. One of them is just giving lunch to the school because in Africa they just suffer, they just starve. The second, but my favorite aim is, sorry, just if you're hearing something, sorry.
No, fine.
The second thing is, in Africa, the girls are not allowed to go to school, and also they do not have at home. So there's a result here. If the families want their girls to live, to survive, they have to send their kids to school to have lunch. So starting from this example, maybe we can create such an environment in the classroom that the students would be very happy in. Then we can create a second identity, a chance to the student, even if after school the shelter is not like that. At school she can feel that shelter, feel that home feeling. Maybe it's a little emotional, I don't know, but teaching is something emotional. We cannot just take them like papers. They are human, we are human, so just, we should use the advantages of being a human, not a computer, I think. I don't know, these are the things that come to my mind. Of course, there should be some more professional ideas about it, but these are mine.
Ali Hocam, I don't think that as language teachers, we're expected to solve each and every problem. There is administration, there's government. I mean, who am I to feed the learners, to give them shelter, to find them clothes? I can't do that. What is important here is to realize this fact. Of course, we are not the key to the solution. We are the key to offer them understanding, empathy. If they cannot do something, at least we need to give them a warm acceptance, saying, yeah, okay, yeah, I understand that. You couldn't finish your homework? Fine, you can do it later, whenever that's it. I mean, we're language, come on. I'm not a superhero. I wish I was, but I'm not, okay? So please do not think that what Nilgün Hocam here is saying here is, we are the only ones who can solve these problems. No, of course not. Okay. What is the government for? I don't know. We can talk about that later. But understanding, okay, acceptance, empathy, I know teachers who go like, why are you crying? And then when the student starts explaining, they turn their back and move. They don't care. If you don't care, don't ask. If you ask, listen. Okay, why are you crying is a very important question. You need to listen to the answer with sympathy and empathy. Otherwise, pretend that you haven't seen that scene. Okay? Write something on the board. Okay. Anything else? I know, Azra Hocam, I have missed you all. Tony Hocam, self-esteem and confidence are so important in learning. Yeah. I don't know whether you have attended Ferhat Karanfil's presentation. It was, I believe, about a year ago. He was talking about his own experience as a teacher, as a new teacher, very excited about the profession, walking into the classroom, meeting a bunch of hayduts, real, actual gang members. Do you remember that? They were smoking in the classroom. They were like putting their feet on the desk, not listening, insulting the teacher, and he didn't know what to do. He didn't want to get killed, so he just pretended that he's not in the classroom. So in such a situation, for example, there's nothing you can do. You can only call the police, I guess. I don't know. Empathy there doesn't work. Or if you want, you can join your students, light a cigarette, smoke with them. Maybe play cards with them. I don't know. Tony, teachers are role models. Don't do that.
There are no students here, Hocam.
I'm a student. I'm a professional student, That's why I started smoking. It's because of you.
I know. But do you know a trainer, a professional trainer that doesn't smoke? A good one.
Oh my God. Tony Hocam, be careful with your wording, please. I know.
Okay. Can I ask you a question, Hocam?
Of course. Shoot.
Nilgün Hoca. Yeah. Nilgün Hoca, I totally agree with everything that you've talked about. But as I was listening, I heard a lot of the new sexy buzzwords that people are using, diversity, inclusion, tolerance. And don't get me wrong, I mean, as a human being, I love those words. But as a professional who's working in Turkey, Canım Türkiye'm, yeah, I ask myself, we've developed this obsession with these terms. But then when I look at Canım Türkiye'm, I ask myself, is that the real problem here? Okay, maybe in the southeast of Turkey, we have issues that we have to deal with, but overall, these are not the main challenges. And I think, as you said, it's leaving teaching behind and connecting with students. That is the big hurdle. It's not about ensuring we have the best level of diversity, because most of us are teaching bunches of Turkish students. Diversity is not a big issue. Most of us are teaching, 50% men, 50% women, and inclusion is not an issue. Inclusion might be an issue in society and jobs and so on, but as an English teacher, I kind of feel it's not the priority, and I feel that we're being led by US or American priorities, and we're not going back to the basics like you have done, you know, in terms of let's really look at what Maslow said. And what Maslow said was connection, leading to self-esteem, yeah, leading to self-actualization. And I totally get that. Okay, what do you say? It wasn't really a question, it was a comment.
I agree with you. However, I also want to add something to your point. So just forget, however, I will agree with you at this point.
Okay.
I believe that students, I mean, young learners, do not have any ideas about diversity. They don't have any idea about inclusion, but they come from their families' houses.
Yeah.
So they come from the supermarket. They just face the challenges there. Again, let's think about the point that I mentioned for Ali Hocam's question. The classroom should be the place which is out of the real world, which is the safest place for the students, which, I mean, I wouldn't like to hear any student who's saying, I hate school. School should be somewhere where the students feel safest. To provide that, it's not about the student, it's about the feeling of each student. For example, if a student is ignored in the supermarket because he is not from Turkey, if he has some hesitations about living in Turkey, he should forget about it in the classroom. All in all, when they go home, they will talk about it. I live in the west part of Turkey, and maybe now I'm in higher education. I've faced lots of students from different backgrounds, but maybe in a few years we will face this issue again, because I don't know. Yeah, I will still think about the same thing. It's not about the students' ideas about each other, but each student's idea about himself or herself. I don't know if I'm clear about it, but
no.
It's about creating the safer place from the outside world. This is my point.
No, I think that's a really good point, and especially for younger kids, it's also getting them to think about their future selves, you know, and you know, if they've come from a limited social background, as Ali Hoca was sort of saying, you know, they have to be extended, you know, in a way so that they are prepared for the future world. You know, I get that totally. Yeah. I think my concern is that an unthinking focus on those areas is not as fit for purpose for us as you know, people teaching in Canım Türkiye'm, and a kind of blind obsession on diversity is inappropriate. Obviously, in certain areas, certain parts of Turkey, it's a priority. You know, the southeast of Turkey, it's a big issue. Yeah.
I agree with you at this point as well. It's just like we don't talk about smoking in primary school, because if you don't talk about it, you ignore it, you don't accept it, and you don't allow it. So it's not in your life. If you don't talk about the problem itself, diversity, inclusion, etc., then it doesn't exist. The students already unaware of the problem, so it's not okay to bring the problem into the classroom. But just adding a little, little activities which would encourage them to sustain them at home with their families, it may work. I mean, it's about touching lives. But yes, I agree with you. It's something maybe while putting the practical tips, I also did some research on the internet, and of course they were not from Turkey.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a trend topic. I get the point.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna interrupt here with all due respect. Ethnography is changing. Please don't miss that. Now we have about 2 million immigrants in our country. And this is not a regional issue anymore. It is a nationwide issue. And students from different backgrounds come to the classroom because their parents cannot afford to send their children to private schools, because these are all, they all come from a poor background. So public school, where Turkish is the only language that all subjects are taught. English is the foreign language. Okay, so we have an issue related to diversity and inclusion. It may not be as big as it is in the United States, but we are getting there, believe me.
Yeah.
Teachers approach me with all different kinds of questions that I have never heard of before, because that was never an issue with Turkish people. But now we have these. Plus, when I think of diversity and inclusion, I'm also thinking about student identity. Of course, there are certain taboo topics that we cannot mention here, but as a teacher, we need to be aware of those. It doesn't mean that we are going to talk about them in the classroom, but if we notice that a student is different, we need to respect. So it is not normal versus abnormal. It is, accepting all of the students, regardless.
I think that's the point I was getting at. You know, when for example, we look at diversity in the States or even in the UK, we focus a lot on gender diversity. Whereas that is not as much on the agenda in Turkey. You know, we're not talking about bisexual students, gay students.
Yeah. Is it the case? I don't know. Is it because we don't talk about it? Or is it because we don't have that problem in Turkey? I don't know. Because when you ignore a problem, the problem doesn't go away. I shouldn't call it a problem. It's not a problem. It is a fact. Definitely it's a fact. See how the society brainwashes you? I immediately said a problem. It's not a problem. We need to respect each and every one, the gender identity. See, I keep calling myself she, her, showing that I respect people who call themselves they, them, you know, that kind of thing. But I believe, Tony, it's not because it is not a common issue or a common situation in Turkey. I think we keep avoiding it. Shh, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it, okay? It's a taboo. It is a taboo. So parents feel ashamed. The child feels ashamed. So they do everything to, you know, keep themselves in the closet. Some are brave enough to come out. Some never come out.
Sure.
They always keep pretending because the society is cruel.
Yeah, they get married.
Really very cruel. Yeah, yes, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
mean, huge life decisions, you know, but yeah. I hear you. Anyway, Nilgün, I just wanted to throw that out there.
It's I believe for example, we used to say, we don't have ethnicity problems in Turkey. Hey, come on, we do have ethnicity problems. It may not be related to the skin color, but definitely it is related to something else. Okay? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Now, of course, as I've said before, as language teachers, we are not policymakers. We cannot change. Well, unless you're planning to get into the parliament. Good luck. We cannot change a lot. But if we can touch one person a day, that makes a huge amount of people. Okay? So very much like that story about, what was it? The starfish? Remember finding starfish and throwing it to the sea? And someone says, hey, how you cannot throw them all back to the sea? Yeah, but I can throw one. I can say one. How about that? So, oh my God, I have become so dramatic now. Patting my tears.
Nilgün, it's all your fault. Yeah, you open Pandora's box.
Nilgün Hocam, it has nothing to do with you. If you put me and Tony Hoca in the same place, we don't just shut up. We can talk
We just
for
enjoy your
hours.
conversation.
That Volkan Hocam, that's okay. That's okay. Nilgün Hocam, thank you very much. Now, this session, you may think, cannot solve every problem. Yes, of course, no session can solve every problem. However, if you can just sit down and think at least about it, that is a huge difference. Okay, so please consider what Nilgün Hocam has said. And if you have missed anything, you can watch the video next week. Don't forget, the moment you walk into the classroom, those are human beings. Yes, we call them students, but they are humans. They are more emotional beings. Try to reach them before you teach them. Nilgün Hocam, thanks a million for this wonderful presentation. And hopefully we will have you again, maybe with a different session, with a different topic. And as usual, my dear colleagues, I mean, you make all these sessions perfect. I hope to see you again next week with another great presenter with another topic. Nilgün Hocam, would you like to say goodbye so that we can close the session?
Thank you, Hocam. It was my pleasure to be here. I would like to thank everybody who just stayed up here till this hour. I hope I don't think that I created something new and I told something, but if you could have just one aha moment, I would be very happy. It would make my day. Thank you very much. So thank you, Aydan Hocam, for giving this opportunity to me.
It was our pleasure, believe me. Thank you very much. Guys, take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye, everyone.